Los Angeles is in the midst of a transit revolution. But at the same time, it's not. Because if we compare the way this city is moving towards transit to the way it moved towards car-centric infrastructure in the past, then it's clear that Los Angeles' approach to transportation is still universally accommodating cars, then treating transit as an afterthought. The media tends to scapegoat crime and unhoused people, consistently refusing to acknowledge that embracing transit is key to solving these social issues in the first place. Cars and their infrastructure developed to serve wealthy whites while paving through working-class neighborhoods of color in order to bring suburbanites and their cars to a daytime downtown, full of ample parking. Today, wealthy homeowners have a death grip on municipalities, refusing to allow transit into their neighborhoods. We're never going to make our cities better places for everyone unless we turn the entire system upside down. But how do we know this? We must look to the past. Los Angeles' origins lie in marketing. Real estate developers like Henry Huntington financed the construction of light rail lines that eventually became the Pacific Electric Railway System in order to provide demand for dispersed residential developments called streetcar suburbs. Meanwhile, literature like Helen Hunt Jackson's Ramona provided an idealized, romantic image of Spanish Southern California, complete with a revisionist history that disregarded forced labor on haciendas and the maltreatment of indigenous tribes. In this way, developers romanticized and sold a mission revival lifestyle to people from the East Coast, complete with one of the most comprehensive transit networks in the world. It's necessary to understand that capitalism is at the root of Los Angeles' development, because it means that the Pacific Electric Railway was never intrinsic to the city. It was merely a tool, much like Jackson's Ramona, used to sell the city to homebuyers before another industry could come along and once again exploit the market. The Pacific Electric Railway was assumed by National City Lines, a subsidiary of General Motors that conspired with GM to sell buses and bus supplies to the transit lines which it owned, precipitating a complete removal of trackage in American cities, including that of Los Angeles. The first of the nation's freeways was built in Los Angeles, the Arroyo Seco Parkway that connected Pasadena to downtown Los Angeles. After the passage of the Interstate Highways Act in 1956, Los Angeles became a city crisscrossed by freeways, through which nearly everyone drove. The only transit left in Los Angeles consisted of buses produced by GM. There's a misconception that people simply preferred cars. The removal of transit was especially consequential in south-central Los Angeles, which was serviced by the Southern Division of the Pacific Electric Railway. The Long Beach line of the Southern Division was the last of the Pacific Electric lines to close, and its closure was a principal motive for the Watts riots of 1965. Ultimately, the removal of the Pacific Electric Railway demonstrates that cities cannot trust capitalists with urban planning and transportation. These are unequivocally public services, because the rapid commodification of land in Los Angeles as it grew led to transportation being treated as a means to get rich, rather than a means to actually provide transit. Los Angeles just doesn't work. Regional immobility runs rampant, and the legacy of racial segregation means that those who are most affected by this regional immobility are black and brown. In a process called redlining, the Homeowners Loan Corporation differentiated neighborhoods into categories that reflected the racial makeup. This, combined with racial covenants that explicitly restricted black Americans from buying into certain neighborhoods, created highly segregated cities throughout the United States, including Los Angeles. As Los Angeles has gentrified its previously red-line neighborhoods, many black and brown people have moved to suburban and increasingly ex-urban neighborhoods, where the cost of living is much lower. These cities in the Inland Empire and the Antelope Valley have developed with an expectation that Los Angeles' freeways will accommodate their commuters. Essentially, developers are using the same playbook as they did when Los Angeles was first expanding. But this time, they're building subdivisions while trusting in an unsustainable form of transportation. People who are displaced in these ex-urban communities face hours-long commutes and thus much poorer health. Bringing comprehensive transit back to Los Angeles has failed time and time again. Since political power is dispersed in municipalities throughout the county, the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority must secure funding county-wide. Over the years, voters of Los Angeles County have approved sales tax measures to build transit, but local activism has stopped construction in its tracks. For example, the G line in the valley was originally supposed to be an extension of the B line, a heavy rail metro that would have surfaced above ground beyond the North Hollywood station. Residents of the valley complained that an above-ground train would have caused too much noise. and they successfully lobbied their state representatives to pass a state law mandating that any rail transportation on the route be underground. In 1998, another ballot measure prohibited Metro from using county sales tax for tunneling, so Metro had to opt for lower capacity bus rapid transit on the route. Today, NIMBY activists in Westwood are using the same playbook, hoping to prevent construction of transit on the Sepulveda Transit Corridor through Westwood. The extent of local activism against the construction of transit is a form of democracy that disenfranchises the majority, as the will of Los Angeles' renters who helped approve the sales tax measures to fund transit construction is being challenged by the will of a few property owners. To move forward and build a city that doesn't suffer from regional immobility and that can comfortably house the population, voters in Southern California must empower the county to decisively rebuild the city by accommodating transit first and treating cars as an afterthought. By increasing comprehensive, efficient transit throughout the county, Los Angeles will become a better place to live.